I don't know who the fuck that is.
I know like Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and the Purple Rabbit. I know.
Purple Rabbit. I don't even know what
There's a big...
That's Big the Cat.
No,
Big the Cat?
The cat. Yeah, that was like he goes fishing or some shit, right?
Yeah. The Purple Rabbit.
Yeah. All right, he's a cat. I thought he was a rabbit. What's cooking, everybody? What's poppin'? It's your boy, Pad Chennington. I'm back in the pad. Haven't done one of these in a very long time, actually. The last one was with the Phantom's Revenge, big French house artist from back in the day. It was a pleasure having him on there. But now, we got a killer on the pad. We got a legend here, Mr. 3D Blast, in the house. Chilling in the pad. How we doing?
I'm good. It's comfy in here.
The couches are a little dusty. We haven't dusted in a while.
So, reminds me of like a cabin you'd have, you know?
That's the look I'm going for. Just make yourself at home, put your bags down, do whatever you got to do. But welcome. This is something, I think I brought this up like a while ago. We wanted to do some podcast stuff. And I know I was just on your podcast yesterday with a bunch of peeps.
Yeah,
Really cool.
we were just like, let's just record something. And I was like, I wonder if I could just ask Pat to be on.
Yeah, I've been... because I've been working from home, but I mean my sleep schedule's all messed up. So I think I literally slept till about maybe like a half an hour before that, and that was like in the afternoon. So
I think I was up about an hour before.
So it's just it's crazy. But yeah, let's start it off. Just tell everyone who you are, just in case they don't know you, what you're all about, and yeah, just go for it.
Let's see. Yeah, like you said, 3D Blast or Randy, whoever you want to call me. Been around in the scene since 2015, little rap there. And I make, let's see, I don't know, anywhere from, it used to be like future funky stuff to it's kind of this new thing, we call it trinket style, where we just kind of like, we sample, but then we put a bunch of dumb sound effects in it. I say we, I mean me. It's nobody else here, but I was most popular album right now is probably Iconic Bitch. Came out on BizCash last year.
Yeah, shout out to Business Casual. Shout out to John. Awesome label.
Shouts out.
Iconic Bitch was great. There was a while back I did that Fantano video. And actually I never got to ask you, did that do anything for your plays at all? It did.
Oh yeah.
That's
huge.
What's up. Oh,
the Spotify
amazing.
Stats are hilarious. Because it's just
amazing.
like nothing.
That is so cool. Yeah, he reached out to me one day if I wanted to do a video. He was doing some tour thing. So I was like, all right, I got to pick 7, albums from the scene. That's like a nice blend. And I was like, let me throw Randy some love. I haven't talked about him yet up until that point. So I wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, I guess tell me, so something that's pretty, to me at least, it's fascinating about going to you for information or just, what's the word or just whatever's happening. You were in the scene, like you said, you started around like 2015, right? You would say?
Yeah. Like I think I discovered it late 2014 and then officially like kind of entered 2015.
Got it. So for me, I discovered it around late 2016, but I'm sure even that 2-year gap between 2016 and when I discovered it and then when you got in, a lot of shit was probably different. So I think it would be cool, if you want to explain, I guess, just what it was back then and like how it was when you first got into the scene and how you discovered it, just the whole story of 3D Blast, if you want to go for it.
Sure. It's kind of funny, though, because there's like, I always say there's like waves where there's like your wave 1, which is like literally echo jams in like the first album. And there's like wave 2, which is like your big people who are, I'd say probably like HKE, Telepath, like your Cat Core, people who were like mega stars when I joined. And then I consider me like wave 3, where it was like the DMT people, DMT tapes, where it was like Dan Mason started, Nano, me, kind of like the future funk stuff started kicking off a bit more. There's other people besides St. Pepsi. There was a ton of different stuff. DC at the time was like the huge place to be. Dream Catalog.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just did that video on it, and looking back at DC, because when I first got into it, I remember when I first jumped into the scene, the first label I really found was Dream Catalog. I think it was also Business Casual, but I remember even around that time, people complaining about the transition, going from, like, they were moving into that post-Vapor era that they've been in since. I kind of hate to use the word post-Vapor because it kind of degrades everything that they are doing, I guess. But,
well,
go ahead.
The people behind DC are, I don't know, see, that's the thing. There was this time when I started, there were certain people in the scene who they kind of ran the show. They were like the Clantons or whatever. Right now, people on 100% can basically tweet, and then everyone will respond and be like, oh my god, is so-and-so doing this tonight? Where's the live stream at? Who's doing what?
The Clantons. That sounds like an E! show, television show.
The Clantons. But those people turned out to like I said, there's a lot of scene drama, and there still kind of can be, but it was like those people were strange and ended up, I think, making a lot of the scene upset. So they're gone, and a lot of those, some of them were related to Dream Catalog, some of them weren't, and so that's why you don't like the Titans from that era. Like, you don't see around anymore, or if they were, like, they're kind of like weirdly. There's like a dip. There's like a big hole where like, because how I feel right now is that if there's somebody small, and they kind of get the attention of somebody bigger-ish, relatively, they kind of like bring each other up, like, this label's got this artist on, oh my god, super cool, and like eventually it just kind of works, and there's gonna be, now all of a sudden these like smaller artists are like growing fast, and it's really cool. But like when we started, that was happening, but then all the people who are on top kind of got #canceled. Now it's just like, well, some people, like, I feel like are forgotten back from the era and stuff, and it was super weird. I call it the faction war era. Like, I put like lore to this whole thing.
I mean, when you look back at it, like when I go through like whatever it is, I never really involved myself in like any of that kind of stuff. I try to keep everything, at least for the channel, this like I can objectively just talk about music in general. Like, no matter what was happening, I always want to give anyone a platform, or their music, whatever. To me, the music is the thing at the end of the day. But looking back, it really seems like there was this like this huge shift in just everything that was going on, I guess right around that time, like that 2015, 2016 thing. Like, when I jumped in and I found Dream Catalog, like I was saying, it seemed like it was like after everything kind of blew over, I guess, and then everyone was still trying to move on to whatever the next label was going to be or anything like that. But obviously DMT came into the scene 2015, like there were things setting up, so it was an interesting time to get into it. But when it comes to making music, so you discovered it around late 2014.
Yeah.
How fast did you get into the actual production side of it and
so
start cooking stuff out?
I was always into like chiptune stuff. Like, it wasn't really chiptune. It was like this Newgrounds chiptune type, like kind of like flash game music almost. And I was always into sampling and stuff. I listened to a lot of Daft Punk and MF Doom and, Adult Swim bumper type shit. And I listened to this podcast called Genre Cult, where they would do like really niche genre stuff. And one of them, their first episode was on Vaporwave, and they recorded that at the beginning of 2014. So it was just like Hit Vibes had just come out when they recorded it. Or whatever. And I was listening to it and was like, this stuff's weird. And then it got to Fantasy on Hit Vibes, and I was like, hold up. Yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Hit Vibes, the B, everyone forgets about the B side. It's really good. I think Fantasy is like starting on the second half of the album. So. And it's that whole album bumps.
And not that I didn't like the stuff I heard before, because there was a lot of like Far Side Virtual and Floral Shop and some Kodak Cameo stuff. But as soon as I heard Fantasy, I was like, oh, this is something. This is super cool. I like this a lot. And then I started learning more and more, and like the whole aesthetic and the sound and like slowing down, and it was also sample based, and I was like, I'm literally was like trying to do that, so I was like, well, perfect time. I abandoned like an old Alias, started working on a little EP, which eventually turned into Pioneer in the beginning of 2015. Mm-hmm. It's super cool, yeah.
Awesome. I mean, so you've been here for a while now. You've put out some stuff. You kind of, like you said, there's those waves. You kind of put them in, which I think is a good way to put it. So this entire time, like I said, so much stuff coming out. I'm going to give you a two-parter question. The first part of the question is, if you had to pick 5 albums, just in the entirety of everything that's happened since this has been out, this whole Vaporwave thing, if you could pick 5 albums you think are the perfect just starter pack for anyone getting into the scene, or just, to anyone watching this video, if you want to recommend anything. And then the second part of that question is, after you name those 5, you got to give me what you think is your favorite album or project ever released, if you could think of one.
So wait, 5 recommendations, and then
5 recommendations, like a perfect starting pack, and then what your favorite just of all time is.
Okay, and starting pack is interesting because definitely doesn't cross over too much with my favorite stuff all the way. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Hit Vibes, like, I feel like I have a lot of cliche answers.
Mm-hmm.
Where if
I do too.
When you like ask me like favorite artist, favorite album, who do you want to collab with, dream team, it's gonna be like fucking Saint Pepsi. I want that guy to do whatever, because that really is. He really did start this whole thing, and I think he Hit Vibes and his previous stuff. He's done something that not a lot of people have done or continue to do. So Hit Vibes is the best to start, because I think if you're new, you can get into it via like, oh, it's funky, it's dancey, it's, at the time even it was criticized for being like too normie. Mm-hmm. But if you've never listened to anything, you'd be like, okay, cool, I get it. Mm-hmm. And then eventually you'll start, there's parts of that album that are like, that are slow and classic style, and it's like, okay, you can get into that. And then, you can listen to like Dan Mason, like Miami Virtual, like that gets you into that whole, there's some like trappy stuff, some slowed down jam type stuff, and that opens up a whole nother realm. Oh, so that's 2.
That's 2. 40%, you're almost there.
If you're doing it now, like if you're trying to get into the scene, like you probably should listen to, like, I'd probably recommend Slide or anything from Clanton, like obviously. I'll Try Living Like This probably is in the early stages. Oh man, there's so many that I'd probably just be like,
there's so many different types of just moods and settings and stuff. To pick 5, I think is definitely tough.
I'm not super into like the drone, the ambient, the slush wave stuff, but one of my first was like a Telepath split with Cat Corp, and I don't know if I'd like, that's the thing. Recommend it to who?
Yeah, I know. There's so many, like, if really you think about it, you could pick like 20, just because if it's just a random person, you don't know what they like or what they're into.
Yeah.
And
if you're searching like for a list and you're up for being challenged, like sonically, then like you could do. I mean, it's stupid to say, but man, like a Floral Shop, if you're trying to get into it, like you need to listen to that. I think that's 5, but also like you need to listen to Echo Jams. There's stuff. I think there's a lot of people now who haven't done their homework. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It took me years to like finally listen to Blank Banshee, and I was just like, oh, I'm stupid. This has been around forever, and I'm just now listening to it.
Yeah, I mean, even for me, there's so much stuff. It's like I'm sure, like I'm missing a ton of stuff that I should have listened to. Or
yeah, I really don't think you can go wrong by listening to the generic listen to these, like, because I don't really think they're overrated. I think they all have a place. They're up there for a reason. If I think that's probably a hot take. People are always just like, it's so bad, it's overrated. Listen to these random things. It's like, nah. The generic ones are the ones that define the sound. And I think that's part of the reasons why the sound now is a little confusing. It's because people deny the greats from back in the day, and they just like listen to this synthwave, listen to Home, which isn't bad. I love Home, but they're like, if you love Vaporwave, listen to Home, and then a year later, people are like, synthwave is Vaporwave, and here we are.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought of it that way, because clearly we're in a time right now where it's like, it's just an umbrella term, and just, I don't know, like everything and anything, it feels like is just under this umbrella, and it just feels like if you're just part of the community and you're making something, it's Vaporwave, I guess.
Right, exactly. And I don't necessarily like that. I don't like hate that we have a community of people like a retro style music. Mm-hmm. But I do wish there was a bit more of, like, genre definition. Because I do think it has a specific sound that I don't think is reflected in a lot of work now. Even on my own stuff. Like, it's kind of weird. It's kind of hypocritical, but...
Yeah, well, no, I feel like a lot of people are just starting to blend into so many things and taking so many things at the same time, and it's all becoming this big, it's like we're going through this punk era, I feel. That's what it really feels like.
I think... I don't subscribe to the whole Vaporwave can be whatever you want it to be. That's not my ideology. I think when I say stuff like I don't subscribe to that, people think that a label that puts out Vaporwave and Synthwave I hate, or like 100% Electronica is stupid because it has Synthwave or retro style stuff and it's not real Vapor. It's like, no. I understand that you can be like associated and like have influences and like your past work, like... I get that, but I just don't necessarily think it needs to be like, hold on, what am I trying to say here? It's like, I don't hate anybody for making different types of music.
Yeah.
It's like, if you make metal, I just don't call it Vaporwave, that's all. Like,
that is true. You do see some interesting things going around today. And
it's also like, yeah, people think like you're not allowed to cross over. It's like, no, like you can make an album that is... like Vaporwave, and then have like original stuff. Like, well, I'm not mad at you, but then when you make like a full ambient album that's just noise and drone, and call it like vapor ambient, I'm just like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, well, that like okay, so Vectroid, right? Vectroid puts out her new stuff. It was like 2 or 3 months ago, whatever. That 12
like the new Mac Plus thing.
Yeah, the Panic, whatever. The Panic something it was called. I mean. I don't know, maybe there's more intention behind using the alias, whatever the Macintosh Plus name, it really seems like, Vectroid used Mac Plus as this way to, it's just a super quick, easy way to market it and have people jump onto that. It
definitely sounded a lot different than Floral Shop.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. It's almost like it was just something Vectroid's been working on that was like Seed and Synthetic. I think that's what the last one was called. That she released as Vectroid, but it really didn't seem like anything Macintosh Plus, but just right now with this, just throwing the word Vaporwave around, and I feel like with this little niche community, and especially with a name like Mac Plus, you could just shoot up.
Anything you put out would be Vaporwave. Like, that's kind of the thing you see now, is that any artist that has made Vaporwave, all their new stuff is considered Vaporwave, which... Yeah. Like I said, I don't care if they're on like a Vaporwave label or playing the festival and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's just sometimes I'm just like, who are you kidding? Kind of. Yeah. Also, I think a lot, Vectroid especially, can capture the Vaporwave sound in even that. Like then it said that new. I listened to like the single or whatever it was that very first drop that was like Macintosh Plus. I'm not really sure if anything else has come out.
Yeah, I'm still. I know the one I heard was like 12 or 11 minutes long or something like that.
But like even that was like full of little MIDI jam stuff and like. It did have that sound. That's what I'm talking about. There's like a specific sound that she definitely still captured. But then the 5 best albums, right?
Yeah.
So my 5, including one of them includes Hit Vibes, easy peasy, and I have that finally physically vinyl, huge.
You get the black or the red one? Which one?
I have it. It's a red vinyl.
Oh, cool.
But it's in a black case. There's no art. It's just, it was from Econ 1.
Real quick, let me just interrupt you. When because
Ryan... No, I'm
sorry. Ryan, he lives in Brooklyn, and I went to go hang out with him like a couple months ago. We worked on a track, and that's when I did the interview with him. But I went in there, I got to his place, it was like in June or something. It was like a beautiful sunny day. He comes outside, he's all like happy, excited. Like I'm sure obviously you met him at Econ, so he's just like the nicest, sweetest, like teddy bear of a guy. And I go into his room, I'll never forget. I walk into his room, and on the floor in the corner of his room, like one, I'm not even kidding, might have been under like a GameCube controller or something. He had like just 3 Hit Vibe records just sitting in the corner of his room, like scattered. I think one was like literally peeking out of the little sleeve, like touching the carpet. I was like, dude, you know that's like $1,000. That's like $1,000 right there on your floor. And he was just like so uncaring about it. It was amazing. He's awesome. He's really cool.
I do have a story that it sounds made up from Electronicon 1 about Hit Vibes. I had met Ryan in Detroit when he came here, but we just kind of met as like, okay, I think I've seen you on Twitter. Like, oh, hi, I think, I know you. Okay, cool. Hello. Good show. Thank you. Awesome. And then in New York, I was like, hey, we've met before. I was from Detroit. He's like, oh, yeah, of course. And then we talked a bit and stuff. And then I was in the green room, and he was there. And he was unpacking, like, Empire Building, I think he had there. And he was like, oh, you want one? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. And then, so that was cool. And then at the same time, Mesh walks in. And he had, like, this merch that was, like, that St. Pepsi wanted. And he was like, hey, Mesh, can I trade you a Hit Vibes vinyl for that shirt? And he was like, yeah, hell yeah. And he's like, they're coming in a few hours. Like, they're not here yet. He's like, okay, no problem. Sick. And I was just like, I hear Hit Vibes. I'm like, I have one shot, one chance to shine. So I was like, hey, I'm too much of a fan not to ask. I'm like, is there a way I can get a Hit Vibes? And he's like, oh, yeah, no problem. And I was like, sick. He's like, would you rather have that than Empire Building? And I'm just like, no offense to Empire Building, but yeah, like Hit Vibes is the thing I need. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, no problem. He's like, when it comes here, if you see it, take one. And I was like, okay, sick. And so I just leave, and then I think I'm just wandering around. I think I'm upstairs. I'm at like DDS's show, and my friend comes up a couple minutes later, and he's just like, dude, you won't believe it. And I was like, what? He's like, St. Pepsi's merch opened the same time during Clanton's set, and it was like a mob. I'm not sure if you remember that, but like there was like...
Well, no, see, I was upstairs. I barely left the roof. I think because I'm my buddy with me. I was just upstairs like suntanning and drinking those like spicy margaritas. I was having a blast, but I barely was... I did not see... The only set I saw inside was Mesh. That's it. Literally,
yeah, that was really early too.
Everything else I saw on the roof. So I saw NXS, I saw FM Skyline, I saw just anyone who was at their Golden Living Room, like everybody.
Oh, you caught the Golden Living Room set. Oh, damn. Yeah. I wanted to catch that, but I was there when he wasn't there because it was his scheduled time and he was late. The whole thing.
That was all crazy too. But I heard, though, I had a buddy who got on the line to try and get one of those Hit Vibes vinyl, and he said that he was the second to last person before they ran out. And he told me that the line, which like this kind of sucks too, because like Clanton's crowds, have you ever been to a Clanton show?
Yes, I have.
It's off the chain. Like it's madness. And the fact that like he was telling me the line like literally cut into the crowd like pretty deep where it was getting close to the stage.
Yeah. It was like dangerous where people were had to funnel this shit.
Yeah, so how'd you end up getting one? Man?
So my friend tells me that IC shouts out, and I was just like, God damn it! Like I definitely missed my chance. Well, and I was like, whatever, I got Empire Building. I'm not gonna run around being like, but where's my vinyl? And I was like, oh, that sucks. But whatever, I'm at DDS. Didn't ruin my night at all. And then cut to a few minutes later, I go into the back room again to put something away. And it's right before St. Pepsi's set. And I'm just like, okay. And he's in the back. And I'm just like, oh, shit, what's up? And he's just like, oh, my God, what up? And he's like pacing back and forth. You can tell he was a little, I don't know, nerves or something. But he was just kind of like, he was just pacing. and we talked a bit. And it was like a really awesome, like, he talked about how he's nervous because it was like different about like, you know, touring is different than like Electronicon, like the kind of like how important the show is, and making Mannequin Challenge, and how it was kind of like had like a lot of raw sounding stuff, and how he didn't, you know, people thought he left the scene kind of with Skylar Spence, and how he was, you know, making sure people knew that he was back and down to still be dirty and lo-fi, and you know, maybe I'm probably paraphrasing, and if any of this is wrong, then whoops. But and then so I'm just like, you know, I'm like I said, that is the guy in my head. That is Vaporwave to me, and I'm sure. I think I told him some of this, and I'm sure he was just kind of like humble, like, oh, you know, blah blah blah. But like, that is the guy. That's the guy who got me into it. Favorite album, boom boom boom. So I'm like kind of freaking out, and then he's like, hey, did you get Hit Vibes? And I was like, no, you know, I didn't see it. And then I heard you guys sold them. He goes, oh no, I saved you one. And I was just like, fucking hell. What if I could go back in time right now and tell myself in 2015 that St. Pepsi's gonna save me a Hit Vibes vinyl?
Yeah, isn't that nuts? I think of stuff like that too. I played a show in Philly a couple months ago for T-Chill,
right?
But back to back with James from DDS. Like, it doesn't like. It's crazy. Like, it's nuts to think about things like
it's
that. Like,
fucking. It literally, like, it can be very like emotional. We're just being like, fucking hell. I mean, like,
that's definitely the word. The word is emotional.
We're just like, I know all these people are just people, and I'm happy to know a lot of these people as people.
Yeah. But it's cool. We bring it to this level. That's really what it is. We like evolve everything more than I feel like it is, because it's just this internet gathering, but there's so much fun in like just creating these, just like looking up to one another and whatnot. So I totally get what you're saying. The word emotional is like that's perfect.
Well, yeah, like, you know, these people online for so long, some of them you're just like, oh, we're not even really friends, but we follow each other. And then you get the Electronicon, and you're just so stoked to see each other. Yeah. I know I met James from BDS the first time, and I walk up, and I think I met Power PCME just moments before, and he was like, hey, James is over there. And I was like, I gotta say hi, you know, whatever. And I walk up, and I think it's gonna be like, oh, hey, you know, nice to meet you, cool. And then he looks at me, and he just goes, oh my god, 3D Blast, I fucking love Sonic. And we embrace, is all I can say. And it was just like, I didn't expect this at all.
Yeah, he's the nicest guy.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my
nicest
god,
nicest guy.
So many people.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't believe it's like I can still talk about Electronicon forever. Like,
I know.
It's so stupid.
I still feel like you can. There's still things I feel like I haven't talked about, just like from that day, or that I'm just not remembering, because so much happened. Yeah, like so fast too. Like, there was just so many little details that was happening. I remember you were the first person I met. Like,
really?
The first, yeah, because that was from the tape swap.
Right. Because I recognized your fucking voice.
You were getting interviewed, and then you said something, and I was like, oh, like, look at that, 3D Blast. But you were definitely the first person the entire weekend.
That's hilarious.
That I met. Yeah, first person. And then inside, like, I think Dan was there, or he might have left already.
He should have been there. We were there together the whole time.
Yeah, I met, like, Private Suite was there, a whole bunch of random people. It was awesome.
Zabelli was there. Yeah, Like, yeah. I remember you opening the door and you're talking to your friend, and I'm just like, hey, say that again.
Yeah. Yeah, you were the
and
first person.
Then we ran into each other right before the show the next day, too.
Yeah. And then we had that the after party set, which was awesome.
Of course.
You know, good times.
So perfect. What a fucking weekend, man.
I know, man. It was amazing. Like, looking back at it, it's just like, fuck, you want to do it again. But what was I going to say? So I guess another good question, because everyone sees this, and it's like, I feel like no one really knows, unless people do, and I just don't know. But obviously, you're very close with Dan Mason. You guys are like really good friends.
Who told you?
You guys are pretty close.
Yeah.
How did that all happen? Because obviously it was through the internet. But how did that whole thing kind of start?
The rumors are true. We are married. No. It's kind of funny, though, because I literally live in this dude's shadow, like, hardcore. But basically, I started doing my, like, podcast in fucking 2016 or something for some reason. And I think I had him on, and I think we just, like, sometimes I have people on the show, and when we end the call, we just keep going. And it happened to the people from Lost Angles, from Hexadecimal and Encarta, and it happened to, you know, Vito from DMT and so many other people, and then just Dan, same thing. We happened, and we just talked a ton. I think we did a lot of stuff, and we just became, I don't know, buds, and then, you know, here we are so far along. Still hanging. See your phone numbers and everything. I know so, his wife, you know.
Oh, I remember from the podcast yesterday. But yeah, real quick, everyone, just like we were saying before, 3D does a podcast. If you want to plug that real quick so people know where to go.
Oh, sure.
And I'll throw it all the information too in the description. But
sure, it's called the 3D Cast. Haha, pretty cool. We call it the premier Vaporwave podcast, but it's basically just a round table of a bunch of Vaporwave idiots who we kind of talk about the scene. It's comedy, you know, but then we talk about like sampling. We talk about Vaporwave stuff, issues. It's more about the community aspect more than it is like deep diving into like music theory or anything like that, or like album or specific. It's not necessarily specific music, but it's more about the scene and the people.
Yeah, definitely really laid back, and you know,
you check it out on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud.
Awesome,
all that shit.
Let's change it up a little bit. Let's shift conversation here from Vaporwave. I always love to talk about movies. Like, I'm a big movie guy. I say that, and then I really think about it, and I've only seen like such a select amount of movies. I'm like so specific. But what is your favorite movie of all time, and why?
So, like I said, I used to think I was like a movie guy because I was into like video games and stuff, and I was like, well, I like music, video games, and movies, duh. But then I realized I don't see movies except for like Marvel stuff in recent times. But my like all-time favorite movie is The Incredibles. Pixar's The Incredibles.
Really?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a movie guy. Like, I'm not like, oh, fucking Tarantino. Like, The Incredibles is so sick.
It is I'm like looking back, it is pretty sick. Like Frozen.
Like when it comes to movies, to make me like it, it's got to have like, it's world building, where like the world itself is interesting enough to watch anything happen inside of it. So there are a lot of shows and TV and movie series that like aren't necessarily, people don't necessarily like them for the plot, but the world itself, which is why I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
So yeah, Incredibles is just like the perfect, like, they design that world in a matter of, 2 hours that you come out of it just like, fuck, I know every aspect of that shit. Like all the technology and all the people and the villains and characters, and it's fucking good. It's fucking funny, quotable, looks great. Nailed it.
And video games. We all know you love Sonic.
No.
And I think we talked about this before. I asked you what is the best Sonic game as someone who only played Sonic Adventure 2. Not even the Dreamcast one, the GameCube one. Like that's the only Sonic game I think I've ever played.
So that's a lot of people's favorite. It's 3 and Knuckles. Everyone who knows Sonic knows it's 3 and Knuckles. You'll basically hear that or Adventure 2, depending on how old they are. But
what makes that one good though?
So that's the third one on the Genesis, and it's also due to time issues and stuff. Like they had to split the game into 2 separate games. So there's Sonic 3 and there's Sonic and Knuckles. And everyone knows the lock-on technology. So if you combine them, it becomes this, like, full, like, I don't even know how many zones it is. 12 zones. Huge. Like, it becomes a huge game that looks beautiful. Music's perfect. Like, plays fun. 3 characters. It's Chaos Emeralds, Super Emeralds. Like, it actually kind of has, like a story, kind of. Like, there's, like, these sea level transitions and shit. And it just nonstop, start to end. It's super good. I mean, it plays the best, That was probably the last, like, truly amazing game. I mean, maybe people like CD, I guess, but yeah.
And like you can really say, because I mean, I know like the whole like the Sonic community, like you guys have been waiting for like a truly good game, right? For like a long time now. Like, is there? Like, I know, like, Sonic 06 was awful. Like, I've seen that AVGN stuff or whatever. But Like, I barely know anything. Like, I know absolutely nothing about Sonic.
So, like, I've been, like, begging my whole life to be part of the Sonic community. But then again, as you get older, you're just like, no, never mind. No, thank you. That's a whole nother round. Like I said, I'm not a fanboy. I'm just a fan. Like, yeah. And now it's become kind of like a bit or like a brand almost. So I will go out of my way to, like, play or do things that are, you know, maybe I necessarily wouldn't. But, like... You know, I basically will play every single one day one at this point because I kind of have to. And so we just got Mania, and that was awesome. Like, that was perfect. Sonic Mania. And then we had Forces, and that was awful. But like, half the time, half the fun is just being able to, like, play these games and say you've played them. Just being like, that sucked, and this sucked, and here's a racing game now, and that was fine. Sonic shit. It's the word. You know, everyone knows it's like, you know, it's full of just like cringe shit and people who are horny for Sonic. Yeah,
I definitely. I don't really know my Sonic lore.
Yeah, I remember. I felt like an idiot. I remember you were streaming and you were just someone was like favorite Sonic character, and I was just like, I answered it like legitimately, and I was just like E102, and you're like, I don't know who the fuck. I don't know who the fuck that is.
I know like Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and the Purple Rabbit. I know.
Purple Rabbit. I don't even know what
There's a big...
That's Big the Cat.
Big
the Cat?
The cat. Yeah, then I was like, he goes fishing or some shit, right?
Yeah. The Purple Rabbit.
Yeah. Alright, he's a cat. I thought he was a rabbit.
Well, you probably know, like, Rouge, the sexy bad. Yes, you know Shadow.
I remember she had the level with the... in Sonic Adventure 2, like, there was, like, the iron building. You were, like, fighting her on the building or something.
Yeah, at the time when everyone hates that level.
Yeah. I like is like, not liking Knuckles levels a thing? Or is that...
I don't know. I like them.
Because I love them. I thought they were the best part of the game.
Yeah, I thought they were fun. Especially the music are killer. Like,
oh, the pumpkin level? That music was pretty cool.
Like, literally the production behind... all the Knuckles and Rouge levels, and they're like, Rouge is all like spy themed, and then like Knuckles is all like lo-fi hip hop stuff. It's sick.
It's so interesting.
Like I said, a lot of the stuff I like about Sonic isn't necessarily gameplay. It's usually just kind of like the music's super tight, and it used to have like super tight. It did used to have super tight gameplay, but you know, levels look cool, art style's cool. Music is fantastic.
Back onto the topic of music, if there's anyone in the scene, and if you've already collaborated with them, you can't say them. Okay. If there's anyone in the scene you'd want to collaborate with, who would it be and why? And it could be anybody.
In the scene, all right. So, I mean, like I said, cliches. You got your Pepsis, whatever, cool. Who doesn't want to collab with him? You got your Vectroids, cool. Then again, at the same time, I'm also like, I'd get my ass handed to me if I collab with these people. So I've always been really interested to collab with Zabelli, with Christ. And it's kind of funny having like direct access to him is, I've mentioned it a few times. He's just been like, I'm not good at collabing. He doesn't, I don't know. Like, I'm just always like, who gives a heck? Like, just send me anything. I think it'd be really funny. Because, like, you hear the stuff he makes, and I think it'd be really funny to, not even funny, it's just really cool to, like, put my weird spin on YouTube poop style shit.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I'm trying to, there's a few. I'm also really bad at collabing, so, like, not product-wise, but, like, as in getting me to do it. I know.
Yeah, you gotta dedicate some time.
Power PC can get his shout out again. He's been trying to get me to collab for like 2.5 years, and I keep saying yes and then never send him anything, to the point where it's just become a bit.
Shout out to Ruben. He just put out the new stuff, numeric growth, right?
Don't give him anything. Like not in my episode.
We're gonna ban any talk of Power PC going forward from now on in this podcast. Cannot speak of him.
There's a lot of people who I like would love to have to collab with. If I could sit down and we had all the free time in the world, it'd be cool. But I also don't want to say it because I feel like then I'd feel like an asshole that I'm not working with them. You know what I mean? Because I feel like there are people who are definitely in reach, and it's just like don't want to put that in the table. I want to put that out there just because I don't want to. I will say there's one thing I have kind of been working on is the group of Hexadecimal and Encarta 95. Okay. We really want to do like a project together, but we just it keeps falling through. We've been a group. We've been friends since 2015. I've talked to them probably every day for the last 5.5 years. So we really should do something, but it's hard.
Yeah, I know, it's tough. I mean, even with like everyone's talking about all this quarantine stuff, like, oh, now that we have so much time, like, do stuff. But even with this, it's like it's still tough to really. I don't know. Like I'm really trying to make as much content as I can for the time being, like working from home and all that stuff. But still, I don't know. Right now, it's
not fun to exist right now. Like you want to be like doing Twitch streams and shit, and you're just kind of like, hey guys, and it's like all you want to do is like just go to sleep. Like you don't. I know. Tomorrow's gonna suck. And like
I know we're gonna do the same shit tomorrow.
Yeah, we're not gonna know. We're just gonna see virus numbers go up, and then eventually, it sucks, and that's why people are always like, perfect time to do that stuff. And I'm just like, no, it's not. Yeah. The last thing I want to do is make music, kind of right now.
I know I've been trying to like really like buckle down and be like, all right, I could use this time really well. But like just not leaving the house. Like I've been doing real good at just like chilling in the house. Social distancing, all that stuff, but like that's what kind of drives the inspiration a little bit. Just going out, doing normal things, So it is a weird time.
Well, I was making an album, and I still am. Like I definitely didn't cancel anything, but it was based around. A lot of my albums are based around the scene and like the feelings and like motivations and stuff like that. And it was an album kind of based around the post-econ, 100% era. Like vibe where it was like kind of about people making it, some people not making it, being left behind, or this feeling of like, I don't know, doing whatever you want, like kind of a back to roots, but also trying to keep up. There's this whole era of like jealousy and stuff, and this is what this album was about. And now all this stuff has happened, and it's just like I don't even care. It's like I don't give a fuck that like like my Spotify stats aren't as good as somebody else. Like I don't give a shit. Like I was using like jealousy to like fuel an album, and now I'm just like I don't care. I really don't. How am I supposed? Now I'm just kind of like, well, whatever. Now I don't even want to make the sound I was making before. It's really weird. It's unfortunate.
That's interesting, actually. Yeah, I mean, so when did you start? So it was right around like the post econ time you started to conjure this up.
Yeah, I mean, I've been like thinking about making music because like Iconic Bitch came out, and I usually give myself a break, and then I started working on it. I'm trying to think if what the first track would have been. Yeah, definitely after like Econ and stuff, I had like this whole like, oh, here's kind of a different take. Like I was really influenced by DDS actually, which is kind of weird because I haven't really been before. Not in a bad way. Like I always loved their stuff, but it was just kind of like specifically hearing CD Player Part 3 live in the after party.
Their whole thing was like just. Oh, well, you're talking about the after party, like just
specifically, yeah.
Yeah.
But hearing that track live, it was just kind of like this. I'm so obsessed with like making something like I don't even know, like big bombastic. I'm just like listen to this like. Kind of repetitive, new world vapor, like just kind of this booming stuff, and I was like, I want to make that.
I know exactly what you're saying.
And I like, released,
like just coming from like someone who pretty much, like I love my future funk and everything like that, but seeing Death Dynamic Shroud live and just like hearing just how powerful the bass is, and just like their nonstop like stutter chops of the same sound for like 20 seconds straight, it's so powerful, and I'm like. Holy shit! This is so cool. Like this is so cool. Like even me, I'm like, damn. Like I would love to make, something like this.
So I got into like sampling other stuff that wasn't like your vapor bait type funk and 80s like synthy stuff. Like I started sampling like rock. Like I sampled Sugar Ray. I sampled like all this other different stuff. Sampled like a song from Dragon Age. Like kind of. I didn't really sample. Classic vaporwave sample stuff, and so this whole current album has a lot of like, it's super different, and it's got like some vocals and stuff. And now I'm just like, I don't want to record vocals anymore. I don't want to do any of this. I have nothing to prove. Like, I don't care. Like, it was kind of like a wish, like maybe if I do them, then I can be them kind of thing. And I'm just kind of like, it doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't. I don't want to do this anymore. In a good way, I guess. I have projects now that I'm just like this album isn't canceled, like I said. It's good. And I'm excited. And it's different. And it's not like future funk. Like I feel like a lot of people don't know whether to classify me as future funk or not, which is good because I don't make like future funk.
No, you definitely don't. I really didn't. Like, I don't remember what I said for Iconic Bitch, but I definitely was saying like if you like future funk and if you like Vaporwave,
right? Like it's
you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this sound.
Like I always loved like future funk. Kind of got away from what I thought future funk was supposed to be back when I started listening to it at the beginning. Like I said, you listen to Hit Vibes and you're like, oh, perfect, and then you listen to like stuff that's more French house influenced, and it's not bad. I love it. I dig it.
Yeah, but it's different. It's
just different. Yeah. So I've always wanted to. I made a vow actually before I did Iconic Bitch to never speed up a song or never pitch up a song. Only slow down.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So no sample. I think since or currently is been pitched up because that's not.
That is.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like you said, some people don't really know what to classify your stuff as, kind of, which is, it's interesting in itself already. And like, even for me, like, I really didn't even know what to say, like, in regards to what Iconic Bitch would be.
Like, there's definitely, like, you could definitely hear, like, okay, future funk. I'm pretty sure I tagged it future funk. Like, sure, it's got elements of dancey stuff and floor stuff and hip-hoppy stuff. And vaporwave stuff, but yeah, it's a lot different still.
When it comes to just everybody you're listening to right now, and this can be vaporwave scene and not vaporwave scene, it doesn't even matter. If you had to take two artists you love or just you think would be like a perfect pair for a collab, like I always love like picturing these like cool collabs. Who would you want to see if you could pick anyone?
Anyone collabing? That's insane. Like I said, one of my favorite artists is Daft Punk, so like anyone with Daft Punk, but I don't want them to do like you listen to Daft Punk like collabs now and just like Kanye and The Weeknd and like Pharrell, and it's like they just kind of vocoder or like they just kind of do their talk box and little funk guitar. They do like their Random Access Memory sound, and hey, that's fine, but I want like Discovery era Daft Punk making French house, making proto future funk. And, like, team them up with fucking... I don't even know. Why don't we just do Daft Punk and St. Pepsi? Let's keep it as basic as we can get. Normie as hell. I am a normie electronic musician. I don't give a shit. Let's just throw it out there.
We gotta get him a helmet. We gotta get St. Pepsi a helmet now.
Just give him one of yours.
And I remember when I went to go chill with him. This is like when I was still pretty much wearing the helmet on the channel. And I brought it with me. The helmet in real life... it's so like light, like it's metal. It's like a whatever. It has like the metal finish and everything, but it's literally like the inside is I don't want to say cardboard, but it's very very like thin material. So he was just like freaking out about like just putting the helmet on and stuff like that. Like yeah, no, but Daft Punk, St. Pepsi, Daft Punk returning to a Discovery sound. That would be kind of
you got like I mean that's the thing. You also could do like. Like Neo Cali style Vectroid with shit. I
thought you were gonna say Neo.
Neo from the Matrix.
Like the hip hop guy.
Oh no,
from like the mid 2000s. I was like, what the hell? Where are we going with this?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, I'm trying to think of the last like crazy collab I heard. But like, no way they just worked together. Yeah, I mean. Even, I think it's about like that would probably be crazy. Like Disclosure is someone I love to listen to. So Disclosure with anybody would be sick. I love Justice. Like there's so much. I have like people who I'd want to see with basically anybody, and you just take a pool of them. Like they're
I saw you were listening. I think you tweeted about listening to like Justice.
I've been tweeting about it all day today. Yeah.
Yeah. You know the Planisphere EP, right?
Yeah, that's like a bonus track on one of the albums now. I think it's definitely on. I don't think it's its own thing on Spotify yet, or like right now.
I love that damn thing. I think that's like the coolest piece of electronic music. Like that 20-minute long.
Yeah.
Just it's so good.
Didn't mean to play it. Yeah, it's a bonus track on Audio Video Disco. It looks like. I think this is this album. But yeah.
I know it was used for. I think it was used for like a fashion show.
Yeah,
or something.
Louis
like
Vuitton party. Which
So.
Daft Punk also has a mix that's really good like that. See, Daft Punk. See, this is kind of speaking of collabs. That they have like I said, Louis Vuitton fashion show 20-minute mix, and it's Daft Punk, and this was also the era of Stronger by like Kanye West was out, and I was really into the Rat-a-Tat, the group, the psychedelic kind of electronic-y
the
rock.
Tiger, right? There's like the yellow tiger on the album cover.
Yeah. And they do this mix, and they're playing Technologic and Aerodynamic and stuff mashed up. And it's like really cool, and like there are sounds that like I don't necessarily like associate with Daft Punk, and I'm like, this is cool. What is this? And they're playing like snippets of Stronger, like Kanye West stuff, and I was like, yo, sick. And then it just like all of a sudden I hear it, and I'm just like, holy shit, they're playing Rat-a-Tat. And at the time, I was just like, Daft Punk is fucking mixing Rat-a-Tat. And then it goes into Lex by Rat-a-Tat, and I was like, this is the craziest shit I've ever heard. Well, I was just like, no, fuck, because it was just like the two artists that I was like obsessed. Like, I love both of those artists at the same time, or at the time, and I still do. But I'm just being like, holy shit, like what a sick. And the whole time I've been listening to it, like you didn't even realize that was the fucking drum beat from Lex, and then it just kicks in, and you're just like, no way. I love DJing.
Yeah, it's good. I love that when you're like, there's one song coming on, they put the drums in, you don't notice it. I was playing in Philly with James a couple months ago, and Fiber came halfway through the show, and I was mixing a Sebastian track into whatever. I forgot what I was playing, but I was going into a Sebastian track, and like Fiber's a huge French house guy, and eventually like I was building it up right before the like initial drop, I guess you could call it, or whatever, just everything comes full circle.
Right.
And there's video footage. I think Virtua 94, 95, I always forget what number they are. They did like a little film of the show, and you can see him like once he realizes what it is, he like explodes. Like I love like just DJ shit where it's you're just waiting for something, like you don't know what's happening, and then boom,
we saw
something comes up, and
me and my friend saw a Disclosure at a festival last year.
That's
and
awesome.
I'm like I said, obsessed with Disclosure, and so they played like every single song I wanted to hear, and like I said, you just like all of a sudden you're like, I think that's the hi-hat from this song, it's coming, and then it would come, and then you're like no, and then at the end you're like, hold on, this isn't Disclosure, this is Music Sounds Better With You, no fucking way, and it was so sick. I love that shit.
Yeah, Disclosure is really good too.
I love them.
There's I always forget names of the albums, but it's the one, I think it's like there's like a cat on it, right? It's like a black album cover with a cat.
That's Caracal. That's like their sophomore one with like Omen and stuff on it.
The Weeknd's on there, right?
Yes, that is Nocturnal.
Yes.
When I say Disclosure, though, that album is good, but it's a bit like poppy. Mm-hmm. Like,
what would you recommend? Because I've listened to Disclosure before, but like I don't really know a whole ton about them.
You should listen to Settle.
If you'd hit me.
Their first album. And then you should listen to their EP Moog for Love, which is a 3-track EP, which is amazing. Then they had 5 singles 2 or 3 years ago as like a little series. They all have the same album artwork. There's a song called like Love Can Be So Hard.
Yeah, and then they also did that other one, like that 30s sample.
Oh yeah, they did like Angels Free to Tread.
Something, right? Yeah,
Tread, yeah.
That I heard. That was
awesome. So those, like, basically you can listen to everything. I recommend listening to everything but Caracal. Caracal's good, but it really is kind of like radio pop. And there's some good stuff on there, but they also just released like 3 or 4 new singles with like it's called like Ecstasy, Tondo, and some other, like, those are also fucking awesome, because I love when they do like the house their, there's just like their house, their modern house, and like UK garage type stuff. Mm-hmm. So good.
Yeah, this goes right into, I guess, next question. So what are you listening to currently? What's going on? What is 3D Blast listening to right now?
Obviously, today was strictly I did all 3 Justice live albums back to back. And the day before, I listened to Woman Worldwide alone. So I listened to a lot of Justice the last couple of days. And like I said, Disclosure, a lot of that new stuff on repeat, because me and a coworker would just like jam out to it at work. I listened to a lot of different. I'm trying to think. I've definitely gotten way into like Spotify stuff, like Spotify Vapor, if that makes any sense. Like anything that's on Spotify, as opposed to when I used to listen to like my phone. So I definitely lost a lot of stuff, but I listen to a lot of like when I'm at work is where I listen to a lot of my music. Like actually just like straight through, and it's on a big like playlist, so there's a lot of stuff. I'm trying to think of albums I've put on recently though. The new Gorillaz music, there's some new Gorillaz tracks that are really good, and I'll usually listen to Demon Days a lot. Like I'll usually just pop on the whole album. Like I said, I'll listen to Justice, listen to Daft Punk, I'll listen to Random Access Memories actually like this week. Yeah, man, I listen to Hip Vibes all the time. Listen to Neo Cali all the time. Factroid. I always second guess myself if that's the name of the album, because I'm always like Neo Miami, Neo Cali. Yeah, it's Neo Cali. God.
Yeah.
That like I listened to Panic at the Disco's Pretty Odd recently, like a lot. That's my favorite album of all time.
Yeah, I remember we had to have been, or you said something on Twitter, and I saw that. We used to, growing up, I was in a band, and we used to cover the song Kamisado. You remember that song?
That's from that album? No, that's not from that album.
No. It's from the one with they're like standing on a red wall.
Oh, yeah, that's from their first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that, I remember we used to like love playing that song. But yeah, Pretty Odd is, when 9 in the afternoon used to come on in Rock Band, I mean... Good times.
Yeah, it's such a weird album because I don't necessarily hold any of their other albums up that high. I do like the first one. I like A Fever You Can't Sweat Out, but like Pretty Odd is something else. They really did something special with that album. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. There's some other stuff I just put on the other day, but yeah, basically.
So back onto Vaporwave. With everything that's happened and just all this econ stuff and just music and everyone coming together in real life and everything. Going into the 2020s, what do you want to see come out of the scene going forward? Or I guess, what are you excited to see happen or potentially happen with everything that's going on?
So, I was super excited for the live boom, right? Everyone was. Yep. And that came shattering to a halt. Doesn't history... I can't believe we're living through history. This sucks. Like, that just... Boom, meteorite... like just destroyed itself. You literally aren't allowed to leave your house right now. So that would have been cool because I had some offers that I was like excited to do, and I was like, cool, SoCal, Philadelphia. Like, I've talked to a few people here and there. Even just like making plans to like go to Econ 3, being like, even if I'm not playing, I have to be there now. Shit. And so that's all gone. So 2020, I think. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I can't imagine there's going to be anything too crazy this year.
Yeah, I'm sure maybe towards the end of the year, but like just even from my perspective, as someone who was trying to plan shows, I've just completely put everything to a halt.
Yeah, I definitely would.
So, yeah.
Let's see. I'm excited for... Like I said, I have a new project that I'm working on, and so I think like this album that I'm working on is going to be like kind of not the last 3D Blast album, but it's definitely going to be like a hiatus in terms of that, because I have a pretty dope project I'm working with somebody else that we really want to like focus on, and then I have another solo project that I wanted to work on, so that's fun, and I'm definitely like trying to bring back like vapor sampling and stuff Also in the scene, we got like a ton of awesome new albums coming out there. Like I said, 100% is pumping out. Well, there's a new DDS album. That's sick. In the scene as a whole, I would love for somebody to compete with 100%. I think there was that tweet that went around the other week or the other day where it was just kind of like, you don't have to be on 100% to be famous, and it's like, you're right, you don't have to be, but there's literally nobody else who's doing that. You look at 100, who's doing what 100%. There are gigs. If you sign up for 100%, if you get on that label, you get gigs. No other label in the scene is doing that. I mean, I think Pacific Plaza like does shows, but you're not necessarily signed to Pacific Plaza. Mm-hmm. They're just like throwing parties, which is cool. And there's a lot of people out there who are, can succeed and do stuff. But like specifically, if you're on 100%, 100% is going to throw shows, at least a festival. And I know there are other shows, and like super cool. So I would love to see that, and I would love to see somebody else step up. It's a lot to ask. That's just what I would hope. And like I said, I couldn't even imagine anybody to do it. But
yeah, that's a good. I never thought of that. Like just the idea of maybe there being another label too. Because right now there's 100%, and then there's just this pool of just big labels like Business Casual, My Pet Flamingo.
There are like physical labels who will do your merch for you and maybe promo. But the 100% glue, the sound, they have like an aesthetic and a sound I don't really think exists anywhere else. I don't know. I keep talking to John Zabelli about it. Business Casual should do like an offshoot that is like super tight and it has like a crew. Like, no label has a crew except for 100%. I would love to see that. I mean, I think they do. I
always think that's cool, when you have this like tight knit family of just
right. Like labels where it means something to be on them again instead of just like they're producing your merch. Like I said, I don't want to. That sounds bad because it does mean something to be like on My Pet Flamingo and Business Casual and all these. To be on these labels is awesome, but like. Ever since DC shut down, there's 100% right now is the label. You're just like, the joke is like, oh, when is he going to be on 100%? Yeah, that used to be the joke with Dream Catalog. Totally was like, true. Oh, LOL, I'm going to be on Dream Catalog, and that's like a sarcastic thing to say. It'd be interesting. I would love to see more. Maybe there's only room for one. I don't know. I luckily have friends at 100%, so I don't care.
Yeah, big shout out to George too. I mean, guy's he's killing it, absolutely killing it. Maybe we'll get the Clantons show soon one day.
Yeah. Basically, that's what I want to see out of the scene this year is a soap opera starring George Clanton or a sitcom, depending on how you want to spin that.
It would be awesome. But yeah, definitely exciting things coming around. You got new stuff you're working on, so 3D Blast gonna have some big things coming out. And before we go, just if you want to let everybody know, just plug absolutely everything.
Here we go.
Let them know, give them the rundown, let them know where they're gonna find you.
I'm an expert at plugging. You can find me. Hit me up on Twitter. I love Twitter. 3D Blast forever is my at. Find me on Twitch. I stream a lot. We can do games. Yes. We do music production. I like to make a lot of album tracks and stuff on there. We also do our live sample flip show the first Friday of every month called Free Samples on there. So that's twitch.tv/3D_blast. Wow, cool. Bandcamp, you know it. Obviously, music, Spotify huge. Listen to that. I think that's got to be it, right? For me, what else do I do? Anything else? New albums coming out, not announced yet. There's a single on my Bandcamp though that was special for the quarantine people out there, so you can go listen to that. Yeah, I'm excited. Hit me up on Twitch.
Hit him up. Hit on my boy 3D Blast. Big things are coming.
Hell yeah!
But yeah, thanks again for coming on. This is a long time coming doing something on the channel with you. So this was awesome. And we'll definitely do some more stuff soon. And everyone, like I was saying earlier, before, I was recently on the 3D cast, so go check that out.
Oh, yeah. I didn't plug that.
There's some fun stuff on there. They have an awesome segment. What was it?
Goodbye or goodbye.
Yes, with Wizard of Loneliness. So that's
he sent
pretty
me
cool.
a theme song for that segment. And I'm just like,
he's a nut, man. I love that guy.
He's the greatest.
Did you see the video? I'm sure you did. The one of he said he found me in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yes, I did. Yeah. They're all eating pizza.
In my entire life, I've never found I know so many people who you could say you look like this celebrity. That's never happened for me. I've never found someone who looked I could even say that looks like me. That guy looked like me. It was freaky. I was like, oh my god.
That was good. Shouts out Colin. Awesome. Big shout out. That guy is incredible.
Yeah. NJ Love, baby. But yeah, 3D Blast, thank you for coming on again. And we will do something soon. Everyone be on the lookout for his new music. It'll be coming out soon. And
thank you.
That's pretty much it. So much love, everybody. And stay safe, wash your hands, and do the right thing. We'll talk soon.